Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. We're going to have a very great conversation today. I'm still a little fatigued. I think it's the weather, the time change, or something. Like, I be wanting to go to bed like right now, but I can't. I got to do something else later on this evening. Anyway, y'all don't care about none of that. Nevertheless, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you so much to my wonderful moderators for all that you do and holding down the comment section. It is much appreciated, and I could not and would not do this without you. Today, we're going to be discussing Black men are becoming desirable again, and it's a beautiful thing. Of course, I'll get into all of that now. Some of people might have saw the thumbnail and in the title and screwed their face up, balled their fist. But of course, we're going to get into all of that in just a second. Donovan, I got just a testimony really quick before I give it to you. So I did a little story earlier when I was at the gym. You know, I've been going to the gym. Ow. Got to show y'all the gun show. I've been going to the gym a lot, you know. So I tried this new machine, and I talked about it earlier. I tried this new machine. It's the squat, the hip thrust machine, right? You're trying to get you all of that. So I never tried it before. Like I have, but not by myself. Man, you ain't showing me nothing. So anyway, I get in there, right? And I'm 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. And I couldn't get out. It was like 25 pounds. Doesn't seem like a lot, but the way it was situated, I could not get out, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm starting to panic. I feel my blood pressure going up because I'm like, okay, you got a couple of choices. You could scream, help, I'm stuck. Then you can say, no, you've got too much pride for that. You just figure it out. So I did, right? I figured it out. I got out of it and everything. Finished the rest of my workout. But I'm really just like, my heart is just like I'm like, damn, like I could have broke my legs. Like, you know, I'm just kind of having a moment. So anyway, I leave the gym and I get in the car. I call 4 people. First 2 people, you know how sometimes before you pick up you pick up the phone and you don't know the other person can hear you. Both of them, I kid you not, and I said, well, damn, what did I do to you? You know, oh, it's not that, I'm just busy. Now, mind you, one of those people had just called me, but I said, hey, let me finish my workout. I'll call you right back type of thing. So I just need to kind of talk to somebody. So then I called 2 more people. They didn't answer the phone. And so I kind of got
it's messed up when your family doesn't want to talk to you, right?
Man, family, friends, you know. So I kind of felt a little sentimental about the situation. And you know, I'm a G, I don't really get that way. I'm like, man, I called everybody that I could think of at the moment. Nobody answered. And you know what I heard in my head as clear as day? God, but you didn't call on me. I said, wow. And I got all teary-eyed and started crying and stuff. And I was like, man, that's a word. You know, so I say all that to say a lot of times when we be going through things, we want to, let me tell you what happened to me. Oh my God. But then you don't call on God, because that's who I really should have called on, right? Before I called those people. So I think that was a testimony or something to show me, hey, man and woman are always gonna fail you, even though they just called you and wanted to talk to you about what was going on and this, that, and the other. They sometimes will get mad that you called. Now, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe they had something going on, but I heard as clear as day, but you didn't call me. So I just want to, if anybody having some difficulties, call on the Lord before you call on man.
Well, dog, well, if you had told me that was the situation, I wouldn't have hung up so quickly.
Go ahead. I got a phone call.
So anyway, you guys, welcome to the Demetra K Show. Glad to have you guys with us. It's 3 p.m. here in California, 5 p.m. where Demetra's at. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. Our moderators, you guys are our co-hosts. A lot of you guys have been rocking with us for a long time. Trust me, Demetra and I, we sit and we talk about you guys all the time, especially Sunlight, because she's always on my bumper. So we got to do something about her, and she's moonlighting on another show and all that other stuff. But welcome to the show. Hey, do us a favor. You see that scrolling banner at the bottom there? If you want to continue to donate and have these great conversations, and you want to help the show grow, that's where you can do it. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys want to do it. And by the way, I'm on my other computer, so if it's kind of got a lag to it, just deal with it. I haven't been on this computer in a long time, so I think it's going through an upgrade right now as we speak. So my apologies for that. Also, don't forget about the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. You'll get great videos from Demetra K, Brother Phil Scott, Vicki Dillard, Wongel, and a whole host of other people in the African diaspora. A lot of stuff going on around the world, you guys. I'm an international type person. I like to see what's going on outside because I spend a lot of my time. I try to spend a lot of my time outside of the United States so I can, enjoy my dollar going a lot longer, because it doesn't go very far here, but it goes very far in other countries overseas. So you get the Emancipation Channel. You also get exclusive content. And right now, Philip Scott is upgrading the app to do something later on in the new year to where it's going to be kind of exclusive. So they're growing the app. So when everybody talks about, oh, we got to have our black on this, we got to have our black on that, we got to have our blackity black. Here is an app that is black owned. And again, so it makes great Christmas gift, graduation gifts. Nothing is more giving than knowledge. And you guys know as well as I know, having these conversations, exchanging ideas, doesn't matter if you're good or bad or good. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion, but you can always learn something from other people. Also, good example, Sunlight. She went to her local city council. I don't think she'll be going back to another. I don't know how it is, but you guys at the local level, if you go to your city council meeting, you will be surprised at what is done in your name. And you just won't believe it. My city council just last week passed $2 million to a developer to do a project that should have been done years ago at a lower cost. But this is how they pass the money to their family and their friends and all this other stuff. So anyway, again, African Diaspora News Channel app, get it on Google Play, Apple Store. So Demetra, like I said, if I knew that was the situation with you this morning, I wouldn't have hung up on you. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. So take it away.
Well, Donovan, it wasn't Donovan, but I mean, the situation was funny, but it was the revelation of it was kind of like, well, damn, So nevertheless, hey, Don, how you doing? And hello to everybody. Detroit Forever, how you doing? Says, I don't desire men, but I sure love me a fine black woman. I know that's right. Arson, how you doing? Says, hey, guys, are you on this Monday? We are on. Let's see, and King Noble, Gracie, how you doing? Sister Sunlight, Kevin, how you doing? Arneba, what is going on with you? Brother Steven said, Demetra and Donovan, okay, your team won. I don't want to hear. So the Cowboys won. They must have cheated.
Hey, no. Let me say this. I'm going to be perfectly honest. That was the Cowboys Super Bowl for the year. We are not going to make the playoffs. They beat us earlier in the season. We beat them now. I've always said this. I'm going to continue to say this. The NFC East is the most competitive division in football because any one of those teams could beat each other at any time because they hate each other. The rivalries are really big. And so I'm going to say this. The Cowboys did not win that game. The Eagles lost. They beat themselves. It was this mistake after mistake after mistake because the Cowboys were never in a position to win the game. The Eagles lost the game. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to be fair about it. But we had our Super Bowl. We beat the defending champions. That's as good as it's going to get as a Cowboy fan.
Beats a poke in the eye, I guess. So anyway, y'all, let's get into it. And hello once again to everybody. Okay, so I talked about this on a short last week. It was something that I learned about maybe a week or two ago at this point. There's this thing called the quarter zip movement. Now, I'm going to show y'all a couple of videos in just a second, but the quarter zip movement, it seems like a brother, right? And you're going to hear from him. But a brother came up with this movement. Of course, if you haven't seen the quarter zips, it's on the thumbnail there. So you see the brothers that got the quarter zip with the ties and things. And it's a whole movement. It's called the quarter zip movement. So you see a whole lot of black men, young and, I guess, I don't know, all ages, but it seems like it's the younger men. It's what they would typically call the YNs, right? I know what a YN is. Well, they're stepping their game up in every way, shape, and form, whether it's how they dress, how they think, what they read, how they eat, just the whole mindset. And it's a grand movement that I'd love to see. As I said last week when I saw it, I damn near want to shed a tear because You know, it's not even about the clothes, as one guy will explain. It's just about a whole total mind shift, which is what we need in the Black community. We need a mind shift, not just from the men, but from the women as well. But since the men are seem like they're taking up the lead, and it's inspiring other races of men as well, I will say. But since the men are taking up the lead, to me, I think this is just the beginning of our certain circumstances in our race turning around. But then I will say there's some out there that are kind of hating on the movement. So I'm going to first show y'all the video of the brother who said he started the movement, and the rest of the video will be quiet or silent rather, because it has music and I didn't want it to get demonetized. But here we go.
Other thing, I am the founder of the Courtesan movement, and there are some things I would like to discuss. For one, I would not tolerate hate on another group of Black men. This movement that I've created has allowed so many Black men to win in so many different ways. The only thing I could do is be grateful, truthfully. Before starting the Courtesan trend / Courtesan movement, I had a smaller following of about 7,000 supporters who interact with my videos every single day. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out y'all. That being said, starting this movement has grown my platform immensely. But something a lot of my new supporters are failing to realize is that I'm not just about courtesans. I'm about my faith, my fitness, and just being relatable, feeling like somebody you could talk to on FaceTime, just being in your face, make you laugh, make you feel good, pouring life into you. That's what I'm about. And starting this movement has allowed me to do that for so many people. It starts with courtesans, but it does not end with courtesans. The whole point of this trend, throwing on a courtesan, sipping the matcha as a Black man, is to allow Black men to feel comfortable in trying new things, expanding your palate, just expanding your horizons of what it is to live this life.
So, okay, y'all got the gist of that. So basically, you know, the best way I can sum it up is, you know, they are exuding class, right? Class again. And of course, class with Black men is nothing new, right? Of course, we Black men would dress up all the time. And I would say the Nation of Islam, the brothers in the Nation of Islam, if you go to church, you know, many brothers dress up or whatever the case is, but we have seen that kind of decline, not just with the men, with the women as well. But we're talking about the men right now with how they dress. And it's not even just the younger men. Some of the older men, boy, I tell you, I'd be like, what's wrong with you? You know, you don't even look like you took a bath. Your clothes is just ill-fitting. It's just a lot, you know, like you just rolled over, snatched something out the hamper and put it on, and then be going on dates and all kind of stuff, looking crazy. So as I said, when I saw that, it kind of moved me. But like he said, it's about my faith, fitness, being relatable, and he wants, you know, other Black men to know he can try new things, right? Let's expand our palate, because, you know, y'all know how I feel about dudes who just want to eat chicken strips, right? So he's saying we are expanding. To me, it's not that they're trying, Black men are trying new things. You're going back to where you were, because Black men used to be the standard, right? And Black women too, but for real, like Black men, as you saw the first brother, he had on what they call the Nike, I forget what they call it, the sweatsuit. So you see a lot of young men dressing like that, with do rags and sagging and all that. But you saw they putting on belts, and not only that, they're reading literature, and you know, they're drinking matchas, just being refined, you know. And as I always say too, can't remember the last time I smelled a man with some cologne on. Yeah, I'm like, do men wear cologne anymore? I don't know, even in passing. Like if you're at the grocery store or wherever it is, normally you smell a man like, oh, you be wanting to ask him what he got on, right? But
Spice.
Funk, okay? It normally be funk. So when I see that, like I said, wow. I have hope for my daughter's generation, you know, again, for a whole host of things, because as that brother said, it ain't about the clothes, it's a mindset. You know, when you dress, you know, nice or whatever, it just takes you somewhere else. You're not, you know, in the mindset of a YN, I guess. But unfortunately, there's some haters in the house. Now, this particular sister, she is trending. Hey, Brother Jonell, this particular sister I'm about to show you, she's trending. I saw people talking about it on Twitter and on TikTok. and Instagram, and she was kind of surprised that her commentary was trending. But here she go.
Too woke, but I don't find the quarters funny because I also didn't find it funny a couple years ago when all those black men put on suits and then stood around in suits. I don't understand what men in general, but especially black men's obsession is with defining themselves by their clothing and not really actively doing it. It's not deeper than just like, well, we can put on suits. I can also put on a suit. What is the point that you're trying to make here? Like, it's like costume. Like, let's dress up as the social idea of success or productivity or decent, productive human being. I don't even understand what y'all are trying to communicate to us. Y'all are constantly like essentially dressing up as white men. Like, that's kind of the underlying idea. Suits, quarter zips, like associating yourself with this like stereotypically white style. Hello? Do y'all not see how that's, one, offensive to you as a black person, upholds white supremacy, but it's also reductive of your like humanness? I don't know. It's like everything all the time with them. Nothing latch.
So that particular sister does not like the quarter zip movement, for lack of better words. It sounds like she think that they're faking it. She said, shut up, Donovan, that they not actually doing anything. So without further ado, I'm not going to, I'll let Donovan take it over from here. And then I'll get back in the comments.
Okay, look, I know it wasn't just me. She's talking about want to be white and all this stuff. This is the brother, and she's got a blonde wig on top of her head, or her hair's dyed blonde, or whatever it is. This is the delusion that we keep talking about. I mean, come on now. Let's be fair. How can you tell somebody their whiteness or they're trying to be white, and you, as a black woman, have dyed your hair blonde? Well, you know, there's some blonde black people in the world with it. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about you. So I just want to point that out real quick, Demetra. So the hypocrisy of and the mental illness that we have within our community, men and women, if they're being white, what does she call herself? Just a question. Go ahead and take it from here.
Yeah, so I knew that Donovan would find that particularly odd, that, you know, she had something to say. Yeah, so her hair is blonde. I mean, black people do have blonde hair, but it doesn't look like that's her natural hair. But that part kind of saddened me because brothers are trying, right? And those men look like they'd be her generation, right? They're trying. They're saying, hey, let's level up. It's not, again, about the clothes, but she thinks that it is, and she equated it to white supremacy. And it's like, you got to remember, black people, especially black Americans, have influenced all types of trends, right? Of course, you can look back at any pictures of your grandparents, and they are dressed to the nines. I have pictures of my grandmother. One is that's on my mirror, and she's got the gloves on and all this, that, and the other, and the men dressed the same way. So this is nothing new, but I think we got to kind of look throughout history where there was a time, even when Donovan and I and some of y'all were in high school, guys, they had the sweaters on and the collar shirts and, you know, things like that. So that wasn't new. But then, of course, you go on and think about the music and the other stuff that was out there that was a negative influence in our community. And so, yeah, I mean, and sagging kind of was always kind of with the gangbangers. That was just kind of their thing. But then the sagging thing kind of transitioned to everybody sagging, you know, and all of that. But then if you think about all those things together, then it kind of makes sense. Even if you think about the women now, the most women that are like rappers and things like that, they hardly have any clothes on, which is why I also said I can't wait till that movement hits the young women, you know. But a lot of that was done by design. And so when you see these brothers saying, hey, we finna level up in every way, shape, or form, that is a direct threat to white supremacy. You could believe that. Because white supremacy don't want black men talking about they leveling up. They're not going to be dressing like YNs anymore, and, you know, with the do-rags and all that. They're going to be reading literature and thinking about their health and their faith. They want them to be thinking about, you know, wearing the shiesty mask and running up and doing all kind of things, hanging out, being up to no good, not enriching their minds and things like that. And so my only fear with that is somewhere, somehow, some agent of white supremacy, and maybe she's one, I don't know, might come in and say, oh, you brothers don't want to do that. That's square. Oh gosh, it's cooler when you run around with no shirt on and wife beaters and you're sagging and you know what I'm saying? I don't be reading, you know, and all that. That's where they need, not us, but that's what white supremacy needs black men, because we know that it's not a secret to anybody, but in our community, it's more matriarchal than it is patriarchal. So when you start to see the black man coming to his right mind, oh my God, that's a threat. So in my opinion, I think we need to encourage that. You see these young men doing that, don't talk down on them. Oh, y'all just trying to be like white supremacists. You encourage that, because with the mind, transitioning, everything else is going to follow. And I will say this, as a woman, I will follow too. I'm just saying. Donovan, I'm gonna get to the comment section.
Yes, very, very, very well spoken. And again, ladies, I can't tell you how many times the most Black men will tell you, we like you guys in your natural state. But if you guys want to go ahead and look like this and look like that, we don't have a problem with that, because again, a real man is not threatened by a partner of a woman. If that's what she wants to do, that's what she gets to do, whatever, that's fine. But we have to look at the messenger when these people are actually saying what they're saying. And I'm going to say this about the topic, Demetra. When has Black men not been desirable? We are wanted all over the world, baby. That's why you have this past.
I'm not saying you're not desirable, but I'm saying, I guess, in the sense of, you're becoming eye candy, like for real. Like I said, I'm a grown woman and I see men my age just out there looking rolled hard and put away wet.
True. That is very, very true. That is very true. But I will say this, as mammals, as we are, and this is the scientific thing of it, just like, you'll hear a man say, we're programmed to be non-monogamous. We're programmed to mate with as many women as we can mate with. Women in every species of mammal is programmed to mate with the strongest male, the alpha male, because that ensures that their children will have those genetic traits of strength and all this other stuff. In the human aspect of a mammal, what's happening in our community is we look at these gangsters and these the women look at these, and I'm just not speaking for women, but you guys know where I'm going with this. You look at this dangerous dude, that, you think he's dangerous, he's got an edge on him and all this other stuff. He gives the perception of strength, which they say makes women are attracted to that, because his perception is strength. When at the end of the day, once the man impregnates you, like a lot of mammal men do, they go away. Once they do what they're supposed to do, then they end up going away. And then the woman actually finds out that man is not a strong man. He's really not what he claimed to be. And then thus the problem in our society and in our group as a people is perpetuated. So again, ladies, I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, but it's true. In mammals, female mammals tend to mate with the alpha male. And that's just how it is. And so when you see these guys running around in their t-shirts and their khakis and stuff, and they're kind of got an edge on them, I don't know what it is, but these young girls, especially when they're younger, they are attracted to that area, that type of dude. And it's unfortunate. But as far as these men that dress up in our group of people in the Black community, we look at those guys as simps. We look at those guys as nerds. We look at those guys as, yeah, he's making 6 figures, girl, but that dang-a-lang Jerome got, that is what, you hear these women talk about, when they're younger. That's really important, right? But then they want to, what's that? The reach back.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's important when we older too.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. But then they want to go reach back for the nerd guy. But then by then the nerd guy has moved on, has an established family, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, ladies, what I'm going to say is, be smart enough not to fall for the sheep and the wolf in sheep's clothing. And that's usually those guys that are in the street. They're in the street. He's got 3 baby mamas in the neighborhood, and yet you think you're going to be the one that's going to change all that. And I think to each his own. If the guy's dressed up with it, doesn't mean he's a nerd, doesn't mean he's a simp or whatever. Because I will tell you, I know some dudes that are business wise, and I learned this from a German businessman. He said to get into big business, where the real money is, think of Donald Trump. Look at Donald Trump's mannerisms. If you've seen the movie The Godfather, you will see where Donald Trump gets a lot of his mannerisms from. But I had talked to a guy that's been in big business in the Dominican Republic. He's one of the biggest developers in the Dominican Republic. He's German. He said, Donovan, to be in this business, you got to be gangster. And these are the guys that are wearing the suits.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little gangster. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Hey, Don't Believe Media. And I keep seeing Mikey saying hi to Jessica. I don't see a Jessica on here. Donovan, do you see a Jessica on here? I don't know for some reason. And yesterday, too, I didn't see Jessica. So I don't know if it's just something going on with my end or whatever. But if Jessica's on here, hello, I don't see Jessica. All right. So let me go back to this comment. Brother Joe, well, actually go here. Brother Ty says, for the sisters with blonde wigs against suits, it's better to be thought of food than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Yes, indeed. This is like when I saw it, like I said, I didn't originally see it on her page. I saw it kind of trending. I'm like, is she for real? Like, why would you have a problem with that? You know? And then, Brother Jonell, you say, in a immoral society, rather, any form of civility is a declaration of war. Anything that goes against program degradation is frowned upon. A suit, a dress, certain other clothes is a standard of civility. Yes, but we have been taught in a sense that that's not the case anymore. I mean, like I said, I'm 54. And so I guess I'm not that young, but I'm not that old. But I remember when I was coming up, the stuff you see young girls and women wearing nowadays, that was kind of club wear, or even in the club, it was kind of, that's kind of risky. But it wasn't normal, right? It wasn't normal to see women dressed the way they are, like on a regular basis, whether they go to Walmart. It was really frowned upon. Like I said, I come from this age of your grandmama said, put a slip on under that dress, okay? It may be burlap sack and you can't see through it or whatever, but you're putting on the slip. Because in case you hit the light the wrong way up in the church or whatever, we want to make sure that there's a slip under there, right? And your clothes have to be a certain length, and it wasn't no legs, breasts, and thighs showing. I don't care how old you were. So we got away from that, and even to the point of it. I'm just speaking from a woman's point of view, to where it's saying, Miss Thing, young lady, and you think you should, cover up a little bit. Don't tell me what to do. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Everybody got some boobs. Everybody got this. And I gotta see what the problem is. It's like, well, I just, don't know if you really want people to look at you like that. It's not really considered to be ladylike. But then you got people who redefine what it is to be ladylike. And femininity is being able to talk about your WAP. I thought that goes against being a feminist, right? Like,
the audacity of WAP.
Well, then Maxine Waters would have some audacity if her WAP did anything nowadays, right? But yeah, so to your point, Brother Jonell, yeah, it's deemed weird now, I guess, to see young black men walking around like they got some sense, or at least looking like they do, right? Because it's a step at a time, and one thing at a time, and then next will follow. Like, that's so refreshing to me to see young men embody this whole movement,
But what's sad about that, Demetri, is us older men, we should be the example that they should be following. And yet it seems like our generation are the ones with the khakis, the wife beaters on, the baseball hats. It's like, I see men my age and older, and they're dressing like they're 16, and you're looking at them like, you are an older man, aren't you? But I guess they still have that in their mind that they're, they still got it,
Yeah, and you said it, I didn't, okay? But I will say that I see a lot of men my age. It's like, what are you wearing, sir? Huh? You know what I mean? But like you said, if the younger men are watching the older men dressing, of course, I'm not talking about all men, because my dad wore a suit his whole life, right? And still does on some occasions, but he wore a suit his whole life.
Demetri's dad cuts grass in a suit and Stacey Adams, okay? True story.
He wears Stacey Adams, right? So, of course, my dad is a fruit of Islam as well, so they tend to wear suits, right? You have to tell him, hey, Dad, we're not going nowhere where you need to wear a suit, right? So he's kind of unlearning that, not all the way, but just certain, places, whatever. So I say all that to say, a lot of these younger men, they daddies dress like them. Daddies are sagging, not all, okay? I don't want to blanket all men, but a lot of them, they daddies are sagging, wearing the graphic tees all the time, and the Jordans, and the True Religion tight skinny jeans, and it's like, dude. You know, like I said, when I see a brother that's dressed nice, not that he's got a tux on, but it's got maybe a nice fitted long sleeve button up and some slacks and some shoes and a belt. I'm like, nah, that's what I'm talking about. Cause then I also think, oh, he probably smells good too. You know?
And you know what's really sad, Demetra, as a man, when you see young, let's say a teenage boys, they're getting ready to go to the prom right now, right? Everybody's getting ready to go to the prom season or winter or whatever this thing's happening. And they don't even know how to tie a tie because most of them don't wear ties anymore. You know, it's just sad. Certain things, fellas, certain events, you've got to wear a tie. I'm sorry. You just have to do it. I know you got the clip on, and that's great to have the clip on, but you should still know how to tie a traditional tie, because what happens if your grandfather, you know, has arthritis really bad and he needs his tie tied and you don't know how to do it? It's things like that. You might not do it, but it's for other, you got to have that knowledge. That's something I think is a requirement as a man.
Sister Shirley, you said a word. You said, I grew up with the men wearing suede, front sweater, alligator, lizard, snake, shoes, also Stacey Adams hat, so-called superfly look. Yeah. I mean, I was born in the 70s, but like I said, I mean, my daddy used to dress to the nines. His favorite cologne is Aramis. I don't know. Not too many men know about Aramis, you know. That's my daddy stuff. I remember from a little girl, Aramis, that's what it was, right? And even when we buy him cologne, that's what we get him or whatever the case is. But yeah, I grew up the same things. I seen men, you know, dress, whether it was my older cousins or whatever it is. But, you know, now that we're here in 2025, and again, we're seeing this quarter zip moving, like I said, it's refreshing because it's not just the clothes, it's the mindset. And we need the mindset of a lot of our people to change. And, you know, that one brother, he said he inspired the movement. And I don't care where it came from, but I'm glad that he did, because it sparked something in those young men. And I bet you when they first put up those little quarter zips and all that, and they got dressed, they was probably like, oh, word. Oh, yeah. It's just, it takes you to another, you know, elevation, just to a different plane when you put on, you know, some good old clothes and you comb your hair. And I tell y'all right now, I always feel good, even if I have on a t-shirt, which I don't normally wear a t-shirt, but if I do my hair and little lipstick or something, I always wear perfume. I don't care if I'm not going to wear my hair looking like Miss Seeley. I always wear perfume because I want to smell good for me, right? But go ahead.
But it's a psychological fact that when you dress like $1 million, you feel like $1 million. It's a psychological fact that when you look like you're a prison inmate, you act like a prison inmate. It's just a fact. How you dress is what your basic demeanor and your attitude is. So let's say you're going into a job interview, and let's say you just got your pants sagging and this, that. As we all know, because remember, you're not going to the fellas in the hood for a job. You're going to the Ike man for the job, right? Or the Hispanic man for the job, or the Asian man for the job. When they see you come in there looking defeated, you're not going to get that job. And then it's going to make your psyche even that much more so. But you give a young person, even a regular dude, a nice suit and tell them, hey, you got to, you know, here's a suit. You're going to your daughter's wedding. Do you want to go there with some khakis and some Chuck Taylors on? Of course not. You want to go there looking the best you can because your daughter is about to be married, one of the most important days of her life. And I know some of you ladies say, no, it ain't, but one of the most important days of her life, you know? And again, back in our day, Demetra, usually not only was our fathers dressed like that, you saw the female broker dressing like that. So for those of you guys don't know, that's the pimp, the female broker. He dressed up to look like he was important to do something, but it's psychologically a fact. When you dress up, your mindset automatically changes, like you are a banker, you are a millionaire, you are that street broker, if that's what you aspire to be. But when you dress down in the military, I even saw it overseas. They even told us, when you see people that are not dressed a certain way and they look defeated, like they got rags on, that's a defeated person. Their mindset is defeated because nobody in their right mind was going to walk around in rags if they don't really feel that that's where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, you said a word, and Don't Believe Media says exactly, Donovan. Arson says to add what Donovan said, we don't only act like we dress, but we are also perceived in that way. That's true. They say first impressions, right? You see somebody where they have something on, you do perceive things about them that may not even be true. That person may not have $1 in the bank, but you don't know that because they didn't show up like what their bank account says. They showed up like, okay, you know what? Maybe I only got $1 right now, but you don't need to know that. I'm show up looking like $1 million, but you should show up looking like that all the time. I'm not saying spend $1 million, but you should show up looking like that all the time. As much as you can. Like I said, I go to the gym and I'm looking busted because I'm in there to be up in the gym. But when I do go places, yeah, I put some effort for it because you really don't know who's watching or whatever the case is. But as I said, for me as an older woman, I think I have to set the example, And again, no shade to nobody. This is not an indictment on nobody. But I'm just not about to be outside with no bonnet on. I'm not. Most you'll see me is if I'm working out at the gym, I have my, my beanie on, whatever, because I'm not trying to mess my hair up as much as whatever. But I'm not running around with no bonnet on, house shoes, pajamas. Like it's lazy to me. I'm not saying nothing about nobody. That is lazy.
But Demetria, I've heard women say that the bonnet is part of the Black culture. Is that true or not? Or what's
your
opinion?
Hell no. No, it's not. See, when I hear stuff like that, it's just redefining indecency. It's not even redefining it. It's making it okay. It's not okay. Like I said, maybe I'm just too old, or I'm getting older, right? Not old, but older. But I think of my grandmamas. I think of my mama. My mama and my grandmama, they didn't wear dressed to the nines all the time, but God dang it, you wasn't gonna see my grandmama or my mama outside in no bonnet. You know what I'm saying? They had a girl walking down the street in no bonnet because women came from a mindset of, I'm going to be decent because first of all, I don't know who gonna see me out there. And if she had a man, she like, I represent my man. They're not gonna see old Buster wife outside looking like somebody that drug her from here to there, and she got a bonnet on. Listen, like I said, I can't speak to that as it's not a Black culture. It's a I don't give a damn culture. See, we got to stop owning silliness. We got to flat out rebuff and shun that. That is not Black culture. As somebody else said, I can't remember who it was. She's a comedian. Charlene is her name. And she says, you got your little bitty girls and little bitty bonnets. You got the babies in bonnets. Like, what is this? It's not Black culture. And we should shun that every time. It's Black. No, it's not. It's ignorant culture. That's just me speaking. I'm not speaking about nobody. I'm saying, in my opinion, if you, as a woman, a grown woman, cannot put a ball cap on. But a bonnet, no.
Demetria, did you see that thing that I sent you, I think this morning, where is Daphne Springs? She's a comedian, Daphne Springs, and she was in the kitchen saying this is what kept your grandmother's bills paid. Yeah, that's a prime example. You think about it. Most of your grandmothers wore muumuus or little short muumuus, and yet all their bills were paid, and they had no problem cooking and cleaning and doing what they're supposed to do. But even though they had the muumuu on, their hair was done, their face was done. They looked presentable to their man. We got to get back to those days. I mean, that's how simple it was, ladies, to keep a man, because men are very simple. We're very simple creatures.
Yeah, and I see Buck Horse, Brother Reggie that came up in the building, Del Monte Green Beans, a whole host of other people. Marjorie, what's going on with you, Ross? Let's see, and I saw Queen Adaya, how you doing? Yeah, that bonnet call, I never heard that. Black culture is ridiculous. Brother Todd says, I hear you, Demetria, forget running around like you only worth $40. Okay, that's probably where it comes from. You got $40, or whatever the case is. But that somebody say this is Black culture, but like, I don't think so. This ain't Black culture. This is lazy. Like I said, I don't always feel like dressing up or all that other stuff, but I have a bonnet, but I can't wear a bonnet because my head be hot. So I have a silk pillowcase. I can't. My head be hot. I tried to sleep with a bonnet on, but I just can't do it. It messes with my mind. Mad Dog said bonnets are for trifling women. Well, bonnets serve a purpose, like in the house. You know, you don't want to mess your hairstyle up. You go to sleep or whatever. Because, you know, black women spend a lot of money on their hair. And, you know, I see the dudes wearing them now, too, outside. And that's a whole different story. But so bonnets serve.
Oh, dude, too. And I was like, what?
Yeah. So, you know, maybe they'll get in the quarter zip movement, too. So bonnets serve a purpose for the house, right? You know, going to sleep. But outside. And I see people wearing them in the summertime. I'm like, your head ain't hot. Because I know my head be hot, but maybe that's just me. What? Del Monte Green Beans. African Native says impresario culture, well dressed. Brother Jonell says if you dress like a bum, you get a sandwich or maybe a donation treated as a bum. You are what you present yourself to be. One reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made suits or dresses code. Yeah. Because it's respectability, right? People, they look at you and they don't have to work through are they gonna rob me? Or, you know, are they homeless? Or whatever it is, right? You just put your best foot forward. And like I said, I know when I get dressed, I feel a lot better. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like Donovan, you said, it's a whole science, it's a psychological thing. Angela, how you doing? Says exactly. I'm from the 60s to 70s. I don't remember my mom or aunt wearing bonnets only to cover their head at night. Yeah, but this, like, we have to unlearn this. We have to. Now, admittedly, most sisters don't run around with bonnets on outside. Even though you probably see a lot, that's not most sisters. You know, there's a lot of, I'd rather be bald than to run around with a bonnet on outside. Now, is the bonnet doing anything to anybody? No, it's not, but it's a perception. You know, like, can't you put your hair in a ponytail? Again, I'm not trying to tell people what to do with their hair, but when I see the bonnets, I'm just like, out of all the things to make fashionable, I bonnet out. You know, I guess it's the equivalent of what people used to wear. They had Jerry curls back in the day. Donovan, I saw a picture of you outside with your shower cap on, keeping your Jerry curl moist. But yeah, y'all remember back in the 80s, y'all see people out there, men and women, with shower caps on outside because, you know, they're trying to keep the integrity of their curls.
But here's the thing, though. You don't see other cultures with bonnets on. You don't. You just don't see. I don't see, you know, the Beckys and the Mealings and all of them running around with bonnets on their heads. It's just particularly us. And then in this society that we do not control, that is looked down as a negative. And I don't understand knowing that. We all know this is not our society. We do not control what goes on in this society. Knowing that that's a negative, we perpetrate what the others believe about us. And it's sad.
That guy from Texas, Daphne, is funny. And one of two, how you doing? Says Cosby Show when Vanessa presented her guy on the trash can lid. That's one of my favorite episodes because what happened was she was dating this older guy, and she finally introduced him to her parents. But it was kind of janky how she did it. And so it's not that they weren't accepting him because he was older, had some stuff going on. I think he owned an apartment building and things like that. But I think it was Bill Cosby who made the correlation. He says, you know, basically when you make a steak or whatever it is, you put it on the plate. But he says what you did was put it on the trash can lid. So it wasn't the way you presented your man to us. Yeah, it didn't make us like him. It in a sense, you know, turned us off from it all. So he basically made the case that it's all about presentation. And I never forgot that episode. So yeah, good example. Vanessa, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Sister Shirley says Monique told the ladies to take the bonnet off and not to wear them in the streets. And you see what happened to her. You see what happened to her? They tried to anyway, drag Monique from here to there and everywhere. You know, who does she think she is? But Monique is an older woman, right? And she's saying that it's unsightly. I'll be up in the airports and all this other stuff. Oh, and speaking of which, I don't know if y'all saw Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy basically saying we're bringing back the golden age of traveling. He says, dress like you're trying to go somewhere, be kind and helpful and things like that. So I don't know why or where this is coming from. I have my suspicions. But yeah, he specifically talked about dressing. He called it the golden age of travel is coming back. So I guess it's kind of keeping in line with this whole Trump, the golden age of America type thing. Del Monte Green Beans says, and they didn't all look the same. And Corey, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. one son of two. I always say one of son. So one son of two. Jack your name up. And Buckhorse says, and granddaddy had easy access. I bet those were the days. You're talking about them damn moo-moos. Y'all crazy. One who cares says, absolutely put yourself together before coming outside. Yeah, you ain't got to have no ball gown on, but I don't. It almost seemed like the bonnet and pajama culture kind of just sprung up from nowhere, you know. So again, I think of my grandparents and my grandmothers especially, and they would never. It'd just be appalling, like a bonnet outside, you know. Hey Herschel, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Joey says, what about the bald head? I'm talking about and your comment cut off. I mean, I'll let you finish your comment before I speculate. Michelle, how you doing? Says bonnet should never be worn outside. It's trifling and it's low class. You said it, I didn't. Corey says bonnets are meant for the house. Yeah, bed, you know. Herschel says any man wearing a bonnet looks ridiculous. Yeah, I've unfortunately seen men in bonnets.
And you know, and don't get me wrong, I get the men. I'm not making excuses for the men. It's no different than the women. But usually the guys that are in the bonnets are the guys that have the long braids or they've grown their hair really long. So I've seen, you know, that. But if you're going to do that, don't they have like a Rasta thing for the braid thing that they put their hair in? You know, why do you got to wear a bonnet?
Yeah, but my thing is, you outside. You don't want nobody to see your hair. You know what I mean? We used to comb my hair to go outside, whether you put in a ponytail, to get it girl braids or whatever it is. You just combed your hair. Like, it seems like people don't want to comb their hair. Is that what it is? Like, I haven't had a conversation with somebody who wears bonnets outside, so I don't know. To me, I always ask my daughter when I see that, is it that they don't want to show their hair or they don't want to comb their hair? Like, well, what is it? You know what I mean? I'm just running to the store real quick. See, like if I run to the store real quick, I put a ball cap on if my hair is not combed or whatever the case is. But I don't, maybe I should have a conversation with somebody, you know, and just figure out what is that about, you know. Raven, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Say responsible dads in their children's life, boy or girl, set the standards on how children will think, act, and dress because of tight clothes some black females wear and pants guys wear down to their knees would never make it out the store if the dad is on the scene regularly. In the children's life, when black culture from the beginning is not taught, Satan will introduce a culture which many of our people have brought into. I had to be booted and suited from grade school to high school, but your comment cut off. Absolutely. Yeah, like I always tell the story. I have a younger brother who saw some of my nephews who are a little older. They were in high school at the time. They thought they were going to sag. They weren't a gangster, none of that. They just was the trend. And my brother said, you go get a belt. And they was like, oh, you know, trying to explain to him. He says, you're going to go get the belt. And it's one or two things are going to happen with it. He says, you're going to put it on your ass or I'm going to put it on your ass. And that was the end of that sagging thing. So I'm just saying. Mike, thank you so much for reminding people there's ways to donate to the channel. Love and appreciate you for that. Brother Reggie says, about to start work, y'all. We'll try to check in later this week. Have a great one. Yes, and don't work too hard, which you must be, because we don't see you around here no more. Albie Chill, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Gary, what's going on with you? Says some try to make a bonnet a fashion statement. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Again, I'm not dogging anybody who does it. I'm just, for me, I'm curious as to why is that a thing, you know? Arson says, I saw a post a few months ago. It was showing Allen Iverson in baggy pants. Like in the 90s, the post was explaining that some men just dress accordingly to the eras. These men don't mean bad. No, they're not bad. I'm not saying that I dress trendy, but I also dress accordingly. I'm going somewhere, you know, whatever the case is. I just say for me, it's rare. You don't really see men just kind of like, hey, I'm going out to grab a bite to eat type thing with a button up and some slacks and a belt and some shoes. I'm not saying you got to have the tie on. I mean, yeah, the tie, but you don't see that. You just kind of, I don't know. You see more, to me, maybe, I don't know. You just kind of see more of the other than you do of men that just, you know, look like they took a little bit of effort. You know, a nice clean shave, haircut and all that. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of crazy. And I kind of noticed this trend was starting to happen. And when people don't know how to dress, remember back in the day, even if you were poor, you had your Sunday, the same suit that you wore to church was the suit you went to the interview with or to a wedding with. Even if you only had one suit, it was clean and it was what it was, right? I had some family members pass away earlier in the year. And, you know, it's universally known if you go to a funeral, you wear dark colors, be it a dark blue suit, black, however you're going to do it, right? Or if you don't even have that, you just wear dark colors. I had family members showing up as if they just rolled out of bed with t-shirts, khakis, going to the funeral. And you're looking at them like, is this the respect that you're going to give the person that's moving on to the next level? You know, that, and it's like, I'm sure you have a suit, you know, and you guys know what I'm talking about because I'm very sure I'm not the only one that has family members that just, they don't know protocol and how to do things. It's like I said, when you show up to a wedding, nobody shows up as a guest to a wedding in white. Nobody does that unless, you know, that was specifically mandated. But universally, you don't show up at a wedding in white. You just don't do it. So, you know, Demetri, like I said earlier, either ignorance is just bliss or people are just plain stupid.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is where are the elders to say you cannot wear that. I told y'all one time my grandmama, brother died, my Uncle Charlie, he died. And I brought a red suit to wear to the funeral. Now, you know, especially you got some Southern grandparents or whatever the case is. I was going to wear the red suit and my grandmother was appalled. She says, oh, no, you won't. You won't wear that to my brother's funeral. And she gave me a flowery sundress type of, it wasn't sundress, it was a dress with a bunch of flowers on it. It wasn't my taste, but I knew better than to tell her I'm not wearing that, right? She didn't let me go up in there. Now, you know, red, people wear red now, but back then you wasn't wearing red up until no funeral. You was going to blend in with everybody else, right? But again, I asked where the elders to say, I'm sorry, you got a t-shirt on, that's fine, but we need you to come on in here and, you know, pay your last respects and dress up like you got some sense. See, that's on the elders' fault, you know, because why are they even learning to dress like that anyway? Why is that acceptable? Now, I know some funerals, they do the whole little, you know, homage thing. Okay, if that's what you're doing, but you just coming in any kind of way, that's on the elders. That's a correction that needs to take place, but it should never be taught. Hey, Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? Says, brothers are in demand. Well, you ain't got to tell me. Shoot. Hey, brother Sammy, how you doing? Says, just finished working out and running. Saw your workout commentary. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that was a doozy. Getting trapped up in that thing like that is like, no wonder why I didn't see anybody in it. You know, I never do. And now I know they probably had the same thing happen to them.
And what's is, you know, even if there was guys around you, they're not going to help you when you're going through that.
I don't know if your cat was sitting on you. I figured that
He was.
Yeah, but, I mean, there were people around. I just wasn't gonna be hollering up in that gym like that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You be at the gym and like, you know, guys, we don't want to be gym creeps, so we leave these women alone. You know, we don't. It's sad.
I was trapped. I was trapped in the contraption, you know. I figured it out, like I said in the commentary. My daddy said, whatever you did to get to a point, go backwards. And that's exactly what I did, right? I went backwards, but I was like, I was starting to panic because I was like, how in the hell did it get like this? I couldn't figure it out, but I did. Hey, Al, he says Stephen A. calls out people on First Take that don't wear ties with their suits. Yeah, because he has a level of expectation for, I guess, his show, right, that he's at the helm of, and that's you need to come in here looking like you got some sense and wear a tie. If you see everybody else, I guess, wearing a tie, you come up in here with a tie on until you're told not to wear a tie, you know? So I'm not mad at him, but I'm sure there's somebody who'll have a problem with it. Albert Chill says, it says, for some reason, my generation, millennial and up, thought going against everything our elders taught us was an act of righteous rebellion, which it isn't. Then to follow up, we don't like to listen. The younger generation, boy, they don't. I know. And then the minute that something happened, it's like, oh, I need to talk to you. About what? More than likely, what I was just trying to tell you about it. Now you all ears, huh? All ears usually means, hey, you got some money? Can you help me? Yeah, Yes, don't believe media. It says it's mostly lazy. And I saw somebody else say too, it could be a sign. I guess maybe the bonnet's a sign of depression. It could be, but is everybody depressed? That's wearing a bonnet. Is everybody depressed? And I don't know that they are. I don't know those people, but I mean, yeah, some people they just don't want to bother with that. But is it everybody? I don't know. Yeah, brother Reggie, get a girl braids. I don't wear them as much anymore. You know, I don't like nothing pulling my hair. When I say nothing, almost nothing. The Almighty Green Bean said, "What happened to those Lieutenant O'Hara sisters? Go? What's that?" Brother Sam says, "Could it be an unconscious slavery conditioning?" I mean, it could be, but you know, sisters wasn't wearing bonnets outside like that. I mean, it was shunned back. I mean, this wasn't even nothing you would. I mean, saw some sisters and men wear rollers or whatever. I guess maybe it's the equivalent, but I'm like, oh, you don't want to comb your hair when you go outside. To me, that's kind of standard. You go outside, comb your hair. Well, I don't know. Maybe the hairstyle is so dope and dynamic. It's like everybody can't be laying their eyes on my hair. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll ask somebody like, what gives, you know?
But my question has always been this: when I start seeing the trend of this, where the homeless look became popular, you see these boys, you know, they didn't comb their hair because they got lint all in it and stuff, and they're just constantly twisting their hair like bitches. And but you know what I'm talking about, where they look homeless. When did that become
popular? The dreads or the twist that they wear?
No, not even dreads. They just wake up and their hair is just going naturally. You know, they're not even combing their hair. They're not even combing their hair anymore.
See, for me, I think I know what you're talking about. They're called like free-forming locks. That don't bother me on the younger. And you really don't. I understand the concept of the free-form locks. I'm just let nature do what it's gonna do. I especially don't mind that for younger boys because you're in school, you're learning, you know, and then when you go out to the world, you'll probably do something different. We all experimented, but if that's just how you get down all day long and you look like that as well, your clothes, you know, because there's brothers who got dreads or free-forming dreads and they dress up and stuff. So I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, if your whole look like that, it's like somebody just probably needs to tell you how to make that look a little bit more put together, I think. Hey, Nubian Cutie, how you doing? Let's see, so many comments. I'm going to skip down. King Nobody said the barbershop that I went to from age 4, an adult had signs saying sagging is N-word spelled backwards. That is a good point. It is, right? Buckhorn says pants sagging, y'all know what it means, especially when you're locked up. Yeah, but that became a fashion trend, you know. And I know nobody wants to see your butt. Brother Jonah says everything that was done in the home, especially the bathroom, is now outside, especially house shoes, pajamas, pants. You see everything you can imagine outside. Shame is lacking. Savage is in full bloom, and it's accepted. It's defended. You know, that's not wrong with that. It's like you would never be out with me. I would never be outside with somebody with a bonnet, pajamas, sagging. I wouldn't be. Nope.
Dimitri, you remember when like your grandparents would be hollering and screaming at you? When remember when they had the mini skirt? If your mini skirt was just above the knee, it was like, oh my goodness, you're a harlot, you know? And then you had to bring it down a couple of inches. Like I went to Catholic school, and that was a big thing in Catholic school when the girls wore their skirts too high. Oh my gosh, it was the end of the world. But the point is, there was a standard, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and mini skirts too came out in the 60s, you know, the hot pants and things like that. So that was probably problematic. But my mom, she said when she was in school, I remember when I was in school, we had the test where you had to, you know, put your arms down and then wherever your middle finger landed, that's your shorts or your skirt couldn't be that high. I mean, I remember that when I was in school. But nowadays, like I said, when I drop my children off to school, my daughter and my niece and nephews, because I raised some of them, I would see some stuff going up in the school and I call and be like, y'all allowed to sit at the school? Because I seen a little girl go up in the school with booty shorts and I seen her booty cheeks. So I'm just letting you know, I know y'all got some dress codes or whatever the case is, right? And they said, yeah, we'll do something about it. I said, yeah, you please do.
Well, speaking of dress codes, you know, down there in Houston, I think that's where it originated, where they had to give the dress codes to the parents. Remember that? Isn't that sad when you've got to police the parents on how to dress, and then we wonder why the younger kids have no clue of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate?
Well, you see where they're getting it from. Your mama come up in there and the situation you talking about, the lady had a bonnet on, a night shirt with no drawers, no bra. we tried to go up in the school. And then when the principal tried to check her on it, you know, it don't sound like she was too disrespectful to the lady, even though I would have been. But, you know, then it was all up on the news and people was like, how dare her? And I was like, we've lost the plot. We are actively, when I say we, I mean them, actively defending a woman going to do something, whatever it is at the school with her child in a nightshirt with no drawers, no bra on, and a bonnet. And people are defending that. That's the lunacy of it all. You would have thought that everybody would have defended the principal, you know, and like, why would you come outside like that? And then you get into the car and then you go up to your child's school. You know, it was on the news. It seemed like embarrassing. That this is the stuff that Negroes are talking about. A hard-headed, wayward, off her rocker, degenerate woman that will go to the school and like, how did they know you ain't had no drawers and bra on, ma'am? And was that obvious, apparently, right? What are you going up to the school like that for? See, I couldn't have been the principal because I'd be working at Taco Bell after I got done with her. But that's just me. Hey, Todd, how you doing? Christopher, what's going on with you? Let's see. Buckhorse says, you ain't got no suit, casual. That's all. Yeah, you know, you ain't got a suit. That's fine, but look like you're trying. Al says, nowadays, men are wearing tennis shoes with suits. That don't necessarily bother me as much. I get it, you know, especially if it's a nice tennis shoe or whatever the case is. But I come from the old school where I'm used to seeing men with dress shoes on, right? Like I said, my daddy's shoe of choice is a Stacey Adams, you know. Quan, how you doing? Says,
guys, no lie, you will see Demetra's dad under a car and you'll see his feet underneath, and they're Stacey Adams. No lie.
Damn right. Okay. Quan says, however, get secondhand suits. Don't waste money keeping up with the Joneses like the baby boomers who got us in this situation today. It's not the suits that make the man, it's the man that makes the suit. I totally agree with you. It don't have to be new. Nobody would know that. I got a lot of things from the thrift store, coats, you know, things like that.
Clean. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be new. It just has to be clean. That's all.
Yeah. And that's a whole other different story. Like, there's people who don't take baths. It's like, I can smell you. Michelle says, my stepfather always was sharp, permanent crease in his, man, they don't know about no creases no more. Crease in his Wranglers and his Stacey Adams shoes. It was the norm when I was growing up for Black people to dress with class, especially in creases, right? And people don't crease their pants no more. They just ball them up out the damn hamper and just put them on. Don't believe me. This says proper etiquette is passed down like it used to be. It should be, right? African Native says when Africans come to the Western countries, they need manuals for many things, but it's because it's confusing. One son of two, you say, remember the Titans. You wear a tie. If you don't have one, borrow an old man, uncle, a trade with a drunk. Damn, because drunks looking better than what I'm looking at right now. That's sad. Sister Shirley says, my first husband recently passed away. My grandson had on a suit that was definitely fitting him. Yeah, you know, get one that fits. You know, I know the Steve Harvey suits were a thing back in the day, but
those suits for old men. I'm talking about old man suits.
Al says on the side, Gina's dad made her go change her prom dress because it was too short. Yeah. You can't have that conversation with these kids no more. Raven says some of our folks will rationalize pure nonsense to wear or act a certain way. I heard some of us rationalizing Serena Williams crip walking, saying it was Black culture, which is asinine on all levels. Well, crip walking is part of Black culture. That is true. She's at, you know, with Kendrick Lamar, crip walking. You know, I don't know if she does it on the court. Maybe she does, but I think it's safe to say that crip walking is a part of Black culture.
Yeah. Well, Demetra, I'm going to tell you, if what we are talking about right now is not true, prom is coming around the pipe all across the nation. And every year you see it on social media, all the pictures of how the young ladies are dressed. Some of them look like strippers. The dudes look like, I don't even know what you would call it, but every year we see these pictures of these girls. Now, Demetra, when we were, which was, well, you're only 25. So back when I was back in the day, you know, you really couldn't see much of a woman's stuff. You know, she was pretty much covered up. Now you see the girls with the little, what do you call those things? the pasties on the breast and this, that. And I'm looking at the schools. I'm like, where are these schools at where they're allowing the kids to go to prom like this? You know, and then, you know, if you look at their counterpart schools, the white schools, the Asian schools, whatever, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in those schools, but you don't see it highlighted. You know, so what is your take on that?
I just say again, that comes from the parents. You know, if you think it's acceptable that your teenager that's in high school goes and with her business showing, that's not a reflection necessarily on the child. That's a reflection on the parents. I don't blame the child. I blame the parents. You know, kids want to wear all kind of things, but it's up to you to say, no, that's not appropriate. Put on a little frilly dresses we used to wear back. And I mean, we couldn't even get in the prom with that kind. When they gave you the rules, you had to wear this, that, no cutouts, no this. That had to be, you know, so that's on the school as well. I don't care how much you pay for this ticket. You're not coming in here with your hoo-ha showing, or you know, the skirt all the way up. You're not coming in here like that. You know the rules. So there needs to be rules and expectations put into place. And I'm not spending no amount of money on something that look like 2 cotton balls and a Band-Aid for you to go to no prom. So that comes from us. Like I said, I ain't never been scared of no kids. I'm still not scared of no kids. But that's what that is. Oh, Mom, everybody else going to be wearing them. But you know what? Everybody else going to have their teeth too, but you not if you keep on. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Is everybody's jumping off the cliff? Are you going to just follow? I mean, my mother, that was my mom's biggest thing. She could not stand followers. She said, you do your own thing, or if you're not the leader, you do your own thing, period. I don't want to hear about what so-and-so did, you know, and you followed like a dummy right behind them because I didn't raise you that way. You know, so.
Right. The truth is, how you doing? So Demetri and Donovan, can you two promote how to behave in public if not putting too much on your plates? No, I mean, I just think it's simple. It's very traditional. It's old school, especially as ladies. You know, they say be seen and not heard, but unfortunately, a lot of women have a problem with that. Be meek and mild. As I once said, meek doesn't mean weak. Meek just means, you know, seen and not heard. You ain't got to be a spectacle everywhere you go, and they hear you coming in the door before you actually come into the door. You know, use indoor voices and look like you're trying to go somewhere. Just behave civil. And I don't know. I don't even know how to break that down any more simple, but just be civil. You know, dress like you got some sense. Speak like you have some sense. You know, if I never hear another sister and brothers, I mean, you kind of, I don't say expect it of men, but when you hear it from men, it's like, okay. But you hear sisters, mother effing, if I never hear that again, I'd be fine, you know? So, as they say, I don't know, be seen and not heard, but when you're being seen, make sure you giving somebody something worthy to look at. Don't be seen because you're acting like a donkey out there in the streets, you know? Which is kind of how I see it. And Black America, I'll tell you to wear a suit right now, what you gonna do? Put a suit on. Cosmic Candy, how you doing? Says, hey, Demetri and Donovan, any of y'all remember these old days when your parents and especially grandparents would be going to bed? They tell you turn that TV off, I think, before you go to bed. Yep, I remember that. And I remember you better not be playing in your grandmama water too long either. Remember you being there washing your hands, turn my water off. I remember one time my grandma told me to turn the water off. I had a soap full of hands, but you know what? I turned that damn water off. I didn't say, I had hand soap all on my hands, but I turned her water off. Pamela, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sunlight says, twisting your hair like what, Donovan? Oh, Lord. Let's see.
That was my Freudian slip.
Okay, got you. Aura from, how you say Aurora? Donovan know how to say. He's a Trekkie. Yahura. Yes, she's a beautiful sister. Wasn't that the first interracial kiss on TV?
Yes, on TV, yeah. But the thing is, the clothing of the women in Star Trek, oh my gosh, that was some spectacular wardrobes that they had. They were all in mini skirts and go-go boots or whatever it was. It was beautiful. Oh my God.
Marjorie says, I would love to see your hair hang down. What's your length products you use? Your Donna, you're talking about Donna. That's what's her name? Tabitha. I just use simple stuff, all natural stuff on my hair. I don't use shampoos with sulfate or
some
anything.
berries.
For the most part, right? Right now I'm using some Bontana with turmeric butter. It's a natural thing. I actually found it from Marshall's, and I use yucca on everything to make sure it's acceptable. It was good. I use some Shea Moisture to actually moisturize my hair. My hair, I don't know. Let's see, how long is my hair? It's thundering and lightning outside. That's why I keep looking out this door. Out this window, because I'm scared of lightning.
Yeah, you guys are getting the storm that we had.
I don't actually even. That's why it looks like this. I don't put a comb through my hair at all. And I stopped combing it like 2 months ago. So when I get ready to wash it, I'll finger, comb it, whatever. But it's essentially here. I cut it like 2 months ago, like 2 inches off of it. But if I was a flat iron, it'd do something. But I never put heat on my hair. Never. I never have a desire to even do that at all. But I just do natural stuff. I don't over manipulate my hair. I don't run a comb through it or none of that kind of stuff at all. Wash it once a week, every week. Yeah. So let's see. Norris, how you doing? Where have you been? We miss you. He says men are now wearing dress hats inside. Man, that was a conversation, but they're wearing hats inside now.
Yeah, did you see Busta Rhymes is starting to wear dresses on stage now?
See, I see people talking about Busta Rhymes with the dress. I saw it. I didn't get I don't be too far into the weeds with a lot of stuff I see on the internet. I don't know why he wore it. Is it a dress or is it like long with pants? Did he have pants on underneath it?
I don't know. To me, it looked, from what I saw, it looked like that Hellraiser outfit, where it's just a long thing. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it didn't seem like a dress, but it didn't seem like it wasn't a dress. You know what I mean?
So why did he have it on? I don't know if it was a word. Was he like, it's my special time of the month? Why did he have it on? I don't know. I need to know all of that. Sister Shirley said I wore mini skirts, but they weren't short. We had above the knee, and then we had to wear stockings with that too, most of the time. Sister
Shirley, tell the truth. Where were those go-go boots? That was popular with the mini skirts. You got to have the go-go boots going with him.
Boots are made for walking. Yes. Al says Ricky Smiley got his nephew a job at the Ritz-Carlton and told his cousin to cut his hair. Did he overdo it? I don't know. It just depends on how his nephew's hair look. I understand the whole story. It sounds like Ricky's nephew also took his life. It sounds like the family blamed Ricky for that whole interaction. But for me, I don't know. I don't know how his nephew's hair looked, but I wouldn't have, no pun intended, died on that hill. People if he had dreads, he could have put them back or anything like that. But obviously cutting the dreads off was maybe a personal thing to him, and he didn't want to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with people having dreads. Just, I don't know. I hate lightning. I really do. Truth is, says Demetri and Donovan, can you two promote? Okay, so I read that already. Let's see. Joe says, I remember a few years ago, it was against the school rules to come to class wearing locks. Oh, you mean locks? Yeah, that has a lot of racial overtones as well. Hey, Tyrone, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Sister Sunlight says, my grandmother used to say, dress decent when you leave the house in case you get in an accident. I always was like, we used to hear, make sure you're wearing some underwear or some clean underwear, some good underwear in case something happened and they got to take your clothes off.
Take your clothes off, exactly. That was the main point of it.
Herschel, you say tennis shoes and shoes bother the heck out of me. So you don't like the tennis shoe look. Let's see, Ren Wood, how you doing? Great. Good evening to you as well. Nubian Cutie says, I got married when I saw that crease. Man, that crease, boy, I tell you. Yes, don't give me a hot flash right now. It's something about that crease, but they be creases, but they don't be like that.
Remember when our dads used to crease their jeans where it had the little white line and they creased it so much and put so much starch on it? Oh my goodness.
They don't even know what starch is no more. They don't. Thunder, how you doing, Saadiq and Don? What are some of your favorite colognes and perfumes? Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Right.
I will say for me, one of my favorite one is Drakkar. I like Drakkar, and I like Obsession for Men.
Right now I'm wearing Not Your Baby by Fleur. I think that's how you say it. Not Your Baby. It smells really good. Some of my favorite colognes are Creed. I have a bottle of Carmina. They were given to me. I have one Burberry Goddess. Ooh, Yeah, that's some next level stuff. I have a bottle of Cartier, a Coco Chanel Mademoiselle. I do have some Masson Frances something, they're the maker of the Baccarat. I don't necessarily like Baccarat, but they have some other ones I like. So stuff like that. I also I'm making it a point to collect my mom. I have a bottle of my mom's favorite, which was Elizabeth Arden's Red Door. My other grandmother was White Diamonds. I have some of that. I'm gonna get a bottle of my other grandmother's favorite, which was Youth Dew by Estee Lauder. So yeah, I have some perfume.
I will say this: it's an old school one, but it's a proven winner. Old Spice, fellas. My brother got his last relationship off of Old Spice. She walked in the room and smelt it, and she was just hooked.
I love Old Spice on a man too. Very nostalgic. I do. Yes, I do. It's like, don't get me started. Queen of Dice says women. It says women. Tyson dressed with class. She says she. You mean Cicely Tyson? Is that who you meant? When she was made up. See her husband off to work, children off to school, and by the time everyone got home, she was looking her best. So you talk about women back in the day. Oh yes, don't let your husband come home and see you in them tired rollers and robe, as he did when he left about the house. Right, you wanted him to come home and see you, looking good and smelling good. Because as my dad explained it to me years ago, men, they're outside all the time. They're around women who got dressed, did their hair, smell good. And, hey, mister, how you doing, mister? Then he come home and see you look like the cat that played in your hair all day. It's like, yeah, I have a wife. Raven, how you doing? Says 2 cotton balls and a Band-Aid. Oh, yes, that's how far I am behind. Woo! Al says, after Malice in the Palace, David Stern changed the NBA dress code. He said, yeah, y'all got to put some clothes on. Let's see who else.
Adam Silver reversed it. That's why they're back into their BS clothing now.
Yeah, G Money says I stay wearing Meslin Italian shoes, pair of dress slacks, and some Bond 9 cologne. I stay old school. That's just me keeping it real. I've been like that since I was 12. My dad was a great example. I know that's right. I'm gonna go outside to the department store one day and just smell a man. He gonna be like, security.
I got this comment from Doug Graham. He says, when I was real young, I bought a bottle of high karate because I actually believed I would have to fight off the girls. Some of us believe that stuff because it was the 70s probably.
Wear it around me and we'll see if that theory is true. Okay, I want to test that theory out. Wear it around me. Hey, Beverly, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Marjorie says, beautiful, Demetrius, all hard water here in Utah compared to when I lived in St. Louis. My hair was thick and healthy, but I will take everything you said. Yeah, I don't comb through my hair at all. I used to, and I'm definitely seeing it grow a lot more now. Black America says, no! Talking about please perm or hot comb or something natural, especially on women, look horrible. My hair don't look horrible, honey. Okay, I'm not putting no perm or no straight comb through my hair. I never even think about straightening a perm in my hair at all. I don't blow dry it or anything. It just dries, and I have to work to get it back to this.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, since we're talking about this thing for men going on. I know this ain't about the one, but it's about looking good in our appearance overall, right? So if men are getting back to dressing, especially the younger men, getting back to dressing nice and things like that. And we're talking about, the women, you women always look nice. Let me say that. Women have always looked nice. When I would see young women going to a club and they're dressed to the nines, then you see the guy in his khakis and a t-shirt and he's going into the club. I'm like, this doesn't look right. But a good example that's been trending is Leslie Jones. Did you see that interview where she was like, I am the table, this or that, and she doesn't understand why men wouldn't want to date her. She's rich, she can fight, blah, 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 blah. I would say this goes hand in hand. So hopefully on the women's side, the younger women's side, they will get back to being more healthier and have a better appearance when it comes to it, because it is a fact that Black women are overweight or obese more so than any other group of women. So when I saw Leslie Jones do that interview, I was kind of I was kind of feeling sorry for her because she's not a bad looking woman in the sense of, looking like a natural woman, but I could see where her frustration is, where she doesn't understand her presentation and her femininity. Men want feminine. We don't want a masculine woman. That's not really, some guys do, I guess, but overall, we both sides, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I always just say a woman needs to be that to one man. I don't know why. The context that Leslie Jones was putting it in, or whatever the case is. I just know for me, I go to the gym. Back in the day, it was because I was trying to be cute and all that. Now it's because I'm trying to live longer. The cute stuff or whatever it is, being in shape and not shape, that'll come. But my goal is just to be healthy, to be stronger. Because I know, like I said, the older you get, you start getting bent over and, osteoporosis. Yeah. So I work out to be healthy and to be strong. And I feel good when I do work out. Brother Simon said, Demetri, don't be afraid of the weather. I was told back in the day by Minister Frank Muhammad of Jackson back in the 90s that it's our God that makes the weather, and he's on our side today. I received that. It's just, something about lightning. Because one time when I was sitting here and it actually blew part of my computer out, I had to go get it fixed. I saw the lightning strike right by my window. So yeah. But let's see. Del Monte Green Beans says today is classy, the ashy, opposite of what Biggie said. And Todd says, I use essential oils for men. May have to go back to Old Spice, just testing purposes. And oils are great. I have some oils as well, but like I said, I just be wanting to smell a man nowadays. I know that's creepy. Raven says oil is a couple of drops in bath water or before a shower. You be smelling great for days. Hey, Bakari, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. One who cares says, I thought Leslie Jones had a wife. Does she have a wife? I don't know.
Leslie Jones is very, very, very heterosexual. I think people get that impression because she's so masculine.
Is she masculine or is she not the type?
She's masculine.
Is she masculine?
Yeah. You can't be yelling and screaming and all the time and expect people to think that you're feminine. She doesn't give off a feminine aura, even though she is feminine.
Would you do her? She's
rich. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe I asked that out loud. I was really just kind of thinking it. African Native said 80% of clothing industry consumers are women. It's probably true. Buckhorse says, I need a girly girl woman, a sweetheart. I know that's right. I heard a long time ago from my pastor. She said, don't no man want to feel like he getting in bed with another man every night. And I never forgot that. Sunlight says, I think Black women weigh differently at 13 years. Girl weigh 140 and she's a rail, so skinny, he said. So according to those charts, a 13-year-old and a woman should weigh the same. I think not. Yeah, it is different for Black women. It is.
Yeah, height and weight, it does matter. So
yeah, we got typically sometimes we have a little meat on our bones and other places or whatever, so it's different. The chart, the standard chart, yeah, it's a little off because they say I should weigh 121 pounds. Donovan, I would look crazy at 121 pounds.
And you were almost 121 pounds and you weren't near it and you looked crazy.
I was 139 pounds at my smallest a couple of years back, and everybody said, like, oh, you're too skinny. I was like, y'all just hating. You just hating. Look at this collarbone. You're just hating. And then when I look at pictures, I'm like, was it crack? Like, what was it? So I don't desire to be that small. I'm only really trying to lose maybe another 10 pounds from where I'm at or whatever. I got to keep a little something. I might get a man one day.
Well, you got to keep that caboose. I mean, that's your selling point.
Got to, but caboose going to be retired to the junkyard eventually. Brother Samuel, you say, the thought came to me that straight combing and perming hair is equivalent to lynching and by burning and drugging your hair just as they did as a people. Yeah, I used to straighten my hair back in the day, perm and all that, but I stopped years and years ago. Simply because I just I learned more about what the chemicals do to you and stuff. So I just stopped doing that. Plus, I like my hair natural. I don't like my hair straight anymore. I like it poofy, a poof ball. African Native says, once as a teen, I dreamt that I had a bag of money under the pillow. When I woke up, I started searching under the pillow for that bag. All right, well, let us know when you find it. Delmonte Green Bean says, I merged shea butter mixed together with Yves Saint Laurent. Yeah, I've done that before. Put perfume in shea butter. That's a good idea. Marjorie says, I saw your pictures. You look great to me, age-wise and healthy too. Yeah, I was a tiny bit too small. Raven, but thank you. It says, I like a gangster and my woman. Keep it spicy. I know that's right. Got to be a little gangster. Got to have a little razor blazing lemon juice. Like, I'll cut you, boy. I will cut you up. So anyway, we better get out of here. I'll be here all day. My phone been ringing off the hook. Donovan, you got any last words?
I'm going to answer this question by our longtime supporter, Marjorie. She says, Donovan, what do you think about older men getting weaves to look younger? Totally ridiculous. That'd be like me trying to hold on to my Jerry curl when I am super thin at the top. I just have the Jerry curl on the side looking like the Predator. I think it's totally ridiculous. Whatever happened to growing old in dignity? I mean, we had our time. See, and I think that's the problem. See, that's the biggest problem I have with the baby boomers. It's not that they're getting old and they didn't earn where they're at in status. It's the fact that they won't let other people come up and enjoy the same standards that they enjoyed. They don't want to give it up. And I think that's the biggest problem. But when I see these guys looking like that, it's like, you guys ever see the white guy that has the comb over? And it'd be like a long comb over from way over here. And you're like, just cut it off, dude. Just cut it off. That's how I feel when I see brothers trying to hold on to whatever it is they have left,
Black America, I ain't thinking about you. Yes, Brother Samuel, I've had the shirt for a long time. Probably, I don't know, probably 8 years or so when it, came out, 10,000 Fearless. That came from the Nation of Islam. They're looking for 10,000 Fearless, to go about into the community and, teach our people, reach our people type thing. Yeah, I've had this shirt for a long time. Now, believe it or not, true story, Brother Samuel, this shirt is probably, I don't know, a small, maybe. I don't know. There's a time your girl couldn't fit this shirt. I blew up, right? And now I can fit it. And there's room in it. So I'm losing some weight. I've really been, kind of serious about the things that I eat and going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week and really just working out and all of that. So yeah, this is an oldie but goodie right here. Yes, indeed. Yeah, as far as the man wig, let me think about it. Give me a second. See, for me, I like if I know it's a wig, I'm not going to stop being able to think about it like this dude got a wig on. And I'm silly. I might try to snatch it off just for fun, and then like just be bald. Be bald. I don't have a problem with bald men, right? I get it. You want to keep the Ready for the World, Jerry curl and all that. You just can't let it go. But listen, it let you go a long time ago, okay? Let it go. Let it go. The man, it wouldn't be like a deal breaker. I would just be thinking about you wearing a wig. And honestly, I think about women who wear wigs too, like it's a wig. And I'm not saying that because you're wearing it. I said I know it's a wig. Maybe I need Jesus. King Nova says these baby boomers think they're young. They are young. Like us Gen Xers, we're young.
Yeah, they don't want to give it up though. They.
Well, why should they? Okay, the hair. I understand the hair thing.
Well, what I'm saying is, everybody has a time and a space. At this point, there shouldn't be no baby boomers working in the workforce today, outside of some special circumstance. They should all be retired enjoying their grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and let the next generation come up. That is the only generation that has stayed well past their time.
Yeah, I get all that, but listen, Gloda, if you want to get out there and do it to it, you want to look young and fresh. I'm not saying have your booty hanging out like Maxine talking about WAP and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. Like I'm 54. I don't know what it is to dress old. Whatever the case is, I don't dress old, but I don't dress like I used to when I was in my 20s, 30s, and young 40s. Now I put some clothes on. Not that I was ever naked.
That cat suit, it ain't fitting the same as it did in the 90s.
I'm gonna get me a cat suit on, okay? Y'all ain't gonna never see it now, but I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna get me a cat suit on just to say I did it. That's the goal. Anyway, I get out of here because I could be here forever. Margie says they miss their Afro days, clean and fine. Yeah, I mean, when you get older, you lose some follicles. Donovan can tell us all about that.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys this. Go to your grandmother's photo album. You will see in there all your aunts and all your uncles looking like pimps and hoes, because that's what they emulated. They're in front of the big old Cadillac and whatever car that is, and they're just posing and doing their thing. I have yet to see a photo album that doesn't have that picture.
I don't hate it. I like to dress like that every once in a while. You pick my afro out and do it to it. Let me see. I got a picture on my screensaver. See if y'all can see it. I think I put this picture up once before. Let me see. See if y'all can see it. So every once in a while, when it's cold, I go out there. I dress like I'm from the 70s because I am, right? I am. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all gonna get out here. I'm busting a sweat. I'll see y'all tomorrow on the African Diaspora News channel at 11 a.m. Central Time, and then back on this channel. Of course, Donovan is always welcome because I know somebody gonna say, "Where's Donovan? Would you kick him off the show?" I didn't. Donovan is very busy nowadays, but he's always welcome to show up and do whatever he wants to do. Anyway, in the meantime, y'all have a great rest of your evening. Peace.